What's going on, everyone? So the end of an era with Mo Bamba and Malik Beasley is over, right? Now, maybe not so much Mo Bamba. Mo Bamba could still be a Laker, but definitely Beasley. But the Lakers tried, or based on reports, tried to look and find a deal for Mo Bamba and Malik Beasley, and they just weren't able to do it. They ended up just waiving them, and they could have re-signed them, especially Malik Beasley, which was very surprising, but nonetheless, they ended up letting them go. And we will see what happens with Mo. But the Lakers really kind of botched it, in my opinion, with these guys. Now, depends on how you look at it, of course. Lakers absolutely upgraded. And I love the moves that they made. And you needed to let go of these two in order to go get some of the guys that you got, right? To use your exceptions. I get that. But I just feel like the Lakers had a real opportunity with these two and the salaries that they had and kind of just failed to execute that. Or at least do what you need to do and then bring these guys in at the price that you need to bring them in, right? Like, you could have brought Malik Beasley back for 8+ million and he took like, what, half of that, less, to go to the Milwaukee Bucks, right? Like, what was that conversation? What was that push? And it took a while. So that tells me Malik Beasley at least waited around to see if the Lakers were going to offer him anything. And look, I completely get that Beasley was unplayable for the Lakers. But he still had value even as a tradable contract. And that was the thing. Like, Rob Pelinka was trying to look for these types of trades, right? And you don't want to just make a deal just to make a deal, right? Rob Pelinka didn't want to like lose flexibility. I'm not saying like they absolutely had to trade these guys, and that I just feel like the whole usage and kind of like direction in which they handled these two were just terribly wrong. Now, Mo Bamba, we didn't really get a good look at and insight at, which sucks because, he was basically injured the whole time. He played 9 games total for the Lakers and really only played like 9 minutes a game average. Like, he only played like 80 minutes total during his time in his tenure with the Lakers. But that was a $10 million contract that you could have used to maybe go get some other pieces. And with the new CBA, there's a lot of teams that are trying to unload and change things. And look, you could have maybe went and made a push and traded these guys and like let D'Lo go and still had access to your exceptions, right? Because like when all things started, like bare minimum in the beginning, it was like the Lakers could get to 17 million in cap space and still have exceptions, or they bring back D'Lo at like 18 to 20 million and release Mo, release Beasley, and then they'd have their exceptions. And they ended up going that route. That's the route that they ended up going. But you could have made a move to unload these guys and then still brought in like a Gabe Vincent, still brought in a Prince, and maybe had another move. That's why I feel like they really sort of mismanaged this, right? Even if you just used one of them. Like, you're telling me you couldn't have flipped Mo Bamba into some tradable asset, some tradable piece, and just the salaries, right? Like, if something becomes available at the deadline, like there's a lot of conversation of the Lakers re-sign D'Lo because they didn't want to just lose him, but they actually want to use him as a trade chip come the trade deadline, which I don't really buy. I don't think that was the intention, but that's really like a conversation that we've seen repeatedly, right? And so if that is the case and that is something that they would do, then it would have made sense to bring back Malik Beasley at $8 million a year. It would have. It would have made a world of sense because you could have brought him back, and now that's an $8 million tradable salary on top of D'Lo and his $18.5 million. And now all of a sudden you're like, oh, you also could have traded Beasley. You could have done a sign and trade and actually used his salary to make moves happen. Like, there was a lot of different options that they could have used Beasley and Mo Bamba for, and they just didn't. And I don't know if it's just there wasn't any, maybe there just really wasn't anything out there. But I'm more so disappointed in the fact that they let Beasley go. Mo Bamba, all right. Like, and look, I'm somebody that wanted Mo Bamba, and I made a video about maybe getting Mo Bamba at the trade deadline, right? I was like, see if he's available. And so I was somebody that wanted Mo, but like the Lakers losing him, I don't feel was like as big of an impact. Beasley, his upside, especially with this current team, makes a lot of sense, right? And the Lakers, you could argue, need a shooting guard, right? Because they have right now you have D'Lo, Vincent, Austin Reeves, and Max Christie, right? Like, and look, maybe Max Christie is good. He's looked good in Summer League. Granted, it's been one game at the time of recording this video, but he's looked good in Summer League. It would have been nice to have a veteran shooter, especially with all the size you got and all the switchability and defense. Like, I think it would have been really nice to have a guy that could be a potential sharpshooter. And like, it sucks that he was super inconsistent and unplayable, but that was kind of his game, right? And it's just, I don't know. I just feel like his upside for the Lakers was extremely valuable. Extremely valuable. And with the current roster that the Lakers have, I don't think it would have been as big of a deal if he was bad, right? The problem we had is we kind of needed him to be good this past season, right? Like, when he ended up being terrible, it was like, all right, now what? Right? And then Lonnie Walker had some good moments, and it was like, okay, like, but then he ended up becoming unplayable, and then Troy Brown it was just like, we needed somebody. It hurt. But now it's like, yeah, you're good, right? Especially when you get to the playoffs, right? Like, if Malik Beasley ends up becoming unplayable again, he can't buy a shot, like, you're not worried about it now, because now you have Gabe Vincent, you have Taurean Prince, you have, Cam Reddish, you have Max Christie hopefully steps up and be good. Maybe Lewis turns out to be something immediate. Like, you have guys that you can rely on more now than you did previously. So Malik Beasley would have been a better low risk, high reward move this year than he would have been last year. So it is kind of disappointing. Now Milwaukee ends up having that low risk, high reward, and he very well might start from Milwaukee because they could put the defense around him. I mean, you could go Drew Holiday, Malik Beasley, Chris Middleton, Giannis, and Brook Lopez. Like, that's a very good starting five. So he very well could be in a much better position, but I feel like the Lakers kind of dropped the ball with him. And again, his salary, just you had an opportunity to basically pay him double. Right? Like, just pay him and figure it out later. Right? Sign him to a 1-2 year deal at that price. At worst, he becomes a tradable contract. Right? Again, he took less to go to Milwaukee. And it took time to get there. So why not just bring him in at the $8 million, and then worst case scenario, you have an $8 million tradable contract? Like, it wouldn't have hurt. Again, Mo Bamba, I don't think it's the end of the world that the Lakers lost him, but it's still, I mean, look, and they could bring him back. Maybe they don't. Maybe they re-sign him. I mean, we could get news while you're watching this that the Lakers re-sign Mo Bamba, right? We haven't lost Mo yet. At the time of recording this, he hasn't signed anywhere. So maybe the Lakers do bring him back, and there are reports that the Lakers are interested in bringing him back. But like, at $10 million, he had his value, right? Like, that's a very digestible, tradable contract, especially on a partial guarantee. And then even if it was fully guaranteed this year, it's an expiring contract. So, like, that has value. It's just, like, and he's, look, I don't mind him as our development big, right? I still think we need a veteran big. I really do, right? The Lakers have Anthony Davis, who's going to start at the 5, and then you got Jackson Hayes as the backup. Like, that's great for the regular season, but is Jackson Hayes the guy you want to rely on heavily in, like, the playoffs? And it's that, Anthony Davis is going to miss 30-plus games a year. So you could use another big, and like, yeah, maybe you could have Mo Bamba there, but I'd rather go the veteran route, somebody that you can kind of rely on in key moments throughout the course of the season and the playoffs. But neither here nor there, like, whatever. If the Lakers end up bringing in Mo Bamba, perfect. Bring in Mo Bamba, he's great, right? On paper, he is like the perfect idea of a modern center. A guy that can block shots on one end, has ridiculous wingspan, and just can affect the game heavily on the defensive end and shoot 40% from 3 on the offensive end. Like, that is the perfect center. Problem is, he's very raw, he's very undisciplined. There's a lot that goes into Mo Bamba. But again, it felt like a misuse of his contract. And look, I'm not trying to criticize or knock Rob Pelinka whatsoever. I mean, Rob Pelinka absolutely killed it. Absolutely killed it. And we don't know what's going on behind the scenes, right? It is very possible that Rob very hard and very actively tried to trade these two and very likely tried to do what he could do, and maybe nothing developed. But it's just, like, who are you going to get right now that would be better than Malik Beasley? Right? Like, maybe you can convince Christian Wood to come and take a vet minimum, then that's something, but that's tough. It's a stretch. There's not really very many people left that are better than Malik Beasley, if any. And at $8 million, you got a very digestible, very reasonable, tradable contract. And then Mo Bamba, like, yeah, if you bring him back on a minimum, all right, fine. So be it. Like, that's cool. I think you can bring him back for more than the minimum. I think, because the Lakers have to stay under the hard cap, right? But they could have given Beasley, what was it, like $8.5 million, something like that, and then still had money to sign that last spot for the vet minimum and would have been under the cap. Like, if you do bring back Mo, I think they can give him like something like $6 million, something like that. I think you give it to him, right? Because again, it's 1 year, and if it doesn't work out, then he's a tradable contract, right? You could go and look for a move, maybe even a smaller move, right? Maybe you could go get a veteran guy, right? Maybe Andre Drummond becomes available at the trade deadline, and now you can go trade for him and another piece or something. I just throwing something out there, but I don't know. I felt like the Lakers kind of dropped the ball and mismanaged the Malik Beasley, Mo Bamba situation. But those are my thoughts and opinions, and as always, pass the question on you. Let me know yours down in the comments below. Agree with me, disagree with me, somewhere in between. However you feel, whatever your thoughts are, love to hear it. Let me know down in the comments.